Welcome back, family, to the Back Issue Book Club for a proper episode this week. Last week we had the GalaxyCon
review.
Yeah, I almost said like hoedown. I was like, what is a hoedown?
Well, I mean, you almost danced the hoedown with John Rhys Davies.
Yeah. So that was great. Go check that out if you're interested. And if you're not interested, also check it out. This week we read God Country from Image Comics, written by Donny Cates and illustrated by Jeff Shaw. This is a 2017 series. It's a 6-book miniseries that came out.
And it's been optioned, if I'm not mistaken, right?
It has, yeah.
Is it being developed?
I don't know. Let me see if I can pull anything up on my. Let me check my sources, huh? How about that?
Okie dokie. So, yeah, honestly, I mean, after reading this, I don't know how they would legitimately develop this. It doesn't seem like something that would translate well to live action, in my opinion.
Legendary will produce for Netflix with the person who's doing the showrunner for that show, Sweet Tooth.
Okay.
Which is great, by the way.
Sweet Tooth?
Yeah, I'll get into that later.
Oh, yeah, I watched Sweet Tooth. I thought it was very predictable, but I loved every minute of it. It was just,
okay, good.
It was wholesome. It was wholesome.
Yeah, that's cool. You watched it. I didn't know you watched it.
Oh, yeah, and I watched that a while back.
Yeah, I only watched it right now just because I saw season 2 is coming out this month.
Oh, so, cool. I've been waiting for that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to watch it with you. If you want to do that.
It's a date, sweetheart.
Oh, my God. But anyway.
I'll have to rewatch it, but go ahead.
Not talking about Sweet Tooth. Talking about God Country. And,
absolutely.
Yeah, I read about half of these issues. Not half. Yeah, half. 3 issues right before and during, like, the nights when I got home from GalaxyCon, like when I was in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And then I read the last 3 issues yesterday after skimming the first 3 again.
Come to think of it, you should have brought this and a few omnibuses to GalaxyCon to read while you were online.
Seriously. Yeah, this was. I don't know what I was expecting. But I thought this was pretty good. I like this. It takes place in central western Texas or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
At a dilapidated cabin with a what do you call it? Patriarch? Is that the man? Yeah, matriarch is a woman.
Patriarchal character.
Patriarchal grandfather who is suffering from Alzheimer's and is extremely ornery, like very pissed off. His son shows up, Roy, with his family, and the sheriff is like, "Listen, man, you know, I took care of it, but we got to figure this out," because he was like, I forgot what he said, like naked in the street yelling at people or something. I forget.
Yeah, and his son was worried that did he hurt anybody? Well, he did break one of my deputy's jaws, and I'm like, what
yeah,
the
right,
hell?
right.
But we're not going to do anything. I'm like, you break one of the deputy's jaws, you're probably going to be at least have to face some kind of a ticket. Okay.
Yeah, you'd probably be in the local clink.
Yeah, just for the overnight or something.
Right. But that's how we open. And we open with a narrator. And I've come to really like narrators in my recent watching of Sweet Tooth, where there's a narrator. And in this book, there's a narrator. And you know, Big Lebowski has a small narrator part. And I like the narrator. I think it's cool.
When done correctly.
Sure. Yeah. That's true.
I mean, when the book opened up and I saw all those yellow text boxes, I'm like, oh boy, please don't tell me. But it wasn't. It was the right amount. The whole series. So it was fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
And you start to read it in an accent after a while, so it's really fun.
And those are the times when Emmett knew he should have stopped.
Actually, did you ever watch Dukes of Hazzard?
No, but I'm familiar with it.
I read that with the same exact voice as a narrator from that.
Them boys got in trouble again with the law.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just watch one episode, you'll hear the voice and go, yeah, that works.
Got you. Yeah. I was pretty much just redoing Josh Brolin's father from Sweet Tooth since I just watched it as the narrator
Oh, okay.
in this. So.
That's similar.
Yeah.
As long as you don't like start reading it as Josh Brolin, and then what do you call it? All of a sudden, it's like switches slowly to Thanos. You're fine.
Right. Even Cable would have probably worked. But yeah, so we come across this family that has relocated, at least temporarily, to this random house in Texas. And remind me, how did all of it start? Did a storm come, or a demon approached them? Right?
No.
Out of
First,
nowhere?
the grandfather came down from upstairs after being in his bedroom, and started swearing and just get out of my house, get out of my house. And the wife took the daughter and said, "That's it, we're out of here."
Yeah, we're leaving. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Good.
To which, then she kind of, when she saw this massive storm destroying everything in its path, she's like, "All right, I guess the grandfather's the lesser of two evils. Let's go back."
I would probably agree with that, with a tornado.
Yeah. But then a demon jumps out of the storm and bites Roy. It looks pretty severely on the shoulder, but they never touch on that injury ever again for the rest of the series.
I feel like that happened twice. Because well, we'll get to that part.
Okay.
But yeah, it was like a pretty substantial, like zombie, full engorgement of the mouth. And he was like, "Oh, fuck."
Yeah. Mommy swore. The sword pops out of the storm, jumped into his grandfather's hand, at which point he remembered and he was able to fight and just slashed a demon. Then he told the family to go back inside the house, lock the doors. He stood on top of the car, and the sword kind of illuminated the playing field, if you will, and showing 1 down, 4 billion to go.
Right. And this whole time, the sword is like talking to him, saying, "I'm Valifax." And these are the hordes. This is the trademark of Baelgrim.
Yes.
Is that right? Baelgrim?
Yeah.
Just so you guys know.
I wrote these down ahead of time. It's not like I researched know the names.
We got these names and we wrote them. Well, Rich wrote them down. So we're trying to get accurate with it. He is one of 2 sons of the kingdom of time and everything.
King of God, the God of Kings.
The God of Kings, who is
Atum.
Is Atum, yes, and him and his realm are slowly deteriorating, and he needs the sword Valifax to maintain it, I guess.
Yeah, well, I guess what he did was he put the star into a planet or whatever, just so he could forge a sword. But then that created a rift, which is now destroying his realm. And his 2 sons, Baelgram or Balagram or however it's pronounced, and let me see, what was it? Aristus, right? I can't read my own writing. Which he does seem very like aristocracy. He does seem more civilized.
Definitely.
They are Atum's 2 remaining sons, because Aristus makes mention later on. Oh yes, I understand. Baelgrim got killed. So did so and so. So did so and so. So did,
Yeah.
Like you're losing your family, Dad.
Right.
But I mean, he comes down with an attitude like, "Hey, puny mortal, give me the sword." And the sword's like, "Back off! I'll slice you down, buddy. Don't you open your mouth."
Yeah, I got to admit, it was pretty cool to see Emmett, who is now fully cured of his Alzheimer's, as whenever he's holding Valifax.
Right, but it's like it returned his state of mind back to the point where he started to have a degrade, because he's like, "How did I get so old? What happened?"
Yeah, and he goes and finds like his wife's grave and relives a couple memories and stuff like that. And
I think his only memory of Jeannie was like when his son said, "Look, we went and got married," and you see Janie, standing in the background, and she's pregnant. So when he gets introduced to Dina, he's like, "My granddaughter?"
Yeah. So I loved seeing him, shirtless with Valifax like this, and just like total predator Arnold Schwarzenegger pose.
Yeah,
I loved that. Okay, so Aristus being the chill guy that he is like, listen, I need that, and my father's not going to stop at anything to get it. So, what do you want me to tell my dad? Essentially, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, it moves to the next panel. It doesn't show you what he said, but once Aristus is talking to his father, Atum, he's like, what did he say?
Did the human have a declaration? Come and take it.
Come and take it. And I was like, oh!
That's the quintessential, you can have my sword when you pry it from my cold, dead fingers.
But so much better, in my opinion. Just brevity is just like, fuck you. So that was
like that commander of World War II that sent the message to the Germans. One word, we asked him to surrender. What was his response? Nuts. And the German's like, was is nuts? What?
As in, like, you're crazy? If you think we're going to surrender?
Take it as you want. Whatever. That was his one-word response to, we demand your surrender. He was surrounded. He was going to lose, and everybody's going to die. And the guy replied back, nuts.
What happened?
I think they held out long enough for reinforcements to come in, but barely.
Nuts.
I believe that's covered in the movie A Bridge Too Far. Not to be confused with The Bridge Over the River Kwai.
Or The Bridges of Madison County.
No, that's a chick flick. You can have it. Anyway, we digress.
So that was the end of book 2 or 3.
I think it was 2.
That scene right there.
All right, now let's take a stop for a second.
Okay.
At this point, as you're reading them, how much are you enjoying the story?
I'm all in. I'm like, so I admit it's a weird juxtaposition to have this old West Texas random guy and, cabin put next to this cosmic deity and his sons, and they're come together somehow with like a dark horde in the background. That's a weird combination, but it was working for me, and I was invested, and I really wanted to read more when I got through the first 3 issues, but I just had things to do.
No, it's cool because I mean my feelings of the series changed. My overall feeling for the series itself changed from book to book.
Okay.
So after the first book, my first thought was WandaVision. After watching the first, second, and third episodes of WandaVision, my mentality is, what the hell is this and why am I reading it? This makes no sense. What the heck? But as you continue reading, it explains what was going on, and it makes it the stuff that was confusing feel more plausible, understandable. Okay. So the more I read the series, the more I liked the series in its entirety.
Nice.
So
yeah.
And the artwork I really did like.
Yeah, it was good. It conveyed a lot of motion.
It was grit.
Yeah, exactly. So at one point, Baelgrim, the other son, who's a coward, according to Valifax, comes and steals his granddaughter, Dina. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, where is he? To Valifax, he's asking that. Emmett is. Hell. And he's like, he's in hell. And he's like,
my granddaughter is in hell?
We're going to hell. And Valifax is like, it's not, I don't remember the exact words, but he's something along the lines of, it's not customary to go down to hell to face a god in their realm or whatever, or something like that.
On their home turf.
On their turf. And he was like, basically, shut the fuck up, we're going. And so he makes
wait. I got to go back to a scene that I loved earlier on when Valifax was explaining to Deanna what he was.
Oh, they were like sitting on the porch?
Yeah. And he said, I have been, the sword of every single sword ever created.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've been plunged into people's necks. I've watched them take their last breath. I've also watched, like heroic acts of people standing against insurmountable
Impossible.
odds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the girl, like, Deanna, she like turns around, runs into the house, going, "Mommy!" And Valifax, like, I do not have a lot of practice interacting with children. And Grandpa's like, "No shit."
Yeah. that was a funny.
I love that.
Forgive me,
I'm not
I
good with
don't
children.
have experience with children.
No shit.
That was funny. So Emmett goes to one of the books. I think 3 or 4 opens with him in hell, and it's just like a barren landscape except for one like church house over the hill, and he's like, "Where is he?" And Valifax says he's probably in there because that's the only thing. Or no, he says he's in there because it's the only thing, and it's most assuredly a trap. And Emmett's like,
Well, I think he said along the lines of like, where? Well, she's in there because as soon as you asked the question, that popped up. It's like,
okay,
where is she? Boink. Oh, she must be in there.
yeah. So they make their way there. Actually, they don't. He goes there and he kicks the fucking door in like Van Damme. And as soon as he does that, Belgrim is like, "Shh, you'll wake the child."
Yeah.
And he's got her across his lap on his throne, and basically he's like, "Go ahead."
I love the total disdain that he has for this child too.
Yeah, that was
Like,
such a
look,
cool way to handle it.
Give me the sword. I mean, I don't even know how to raise this human.
You think
child.
I want this?
Please, I don't want this thing.
Yeah. That was a really cool way to deal with it, because usually it's like, I've got your kid in a bird cage locked up. What will you do?
I'm going to raise her as my own, just like in The Mask of Zorro.
I appreciated that unique new approach to a kidnapping.
Yeah.
Basically, I believe he says, no, just give me the kid.
I and the sword are leaving here. Something along those lines.
Yeah.
I don't remember if there was some sort of a fight between the two of them, but I do remember
At one point
he brings out Emmett's wife because he does control the realm of the damned.
Oh, yeah. So
And
that's a great...
while this is happening, all the undead are still attacking Roy and Janie back at Emmett's ranch, house, whatever.
Yep, and Roy is like starting to do like the Lord's Prayer or whatever, and Janie's like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
A freaking god just came down here to try to take a talking
living sword.
Then another god came down here, and you're gonna think that you're gonna put your faith in Jesus?
It's exactly, that was a good act right there. That was exactly how I read it. And he was like, "Dude, they went to hell. If there's hell, I thought maybe there was heaven," or something like that.
Yeah, and when I heard that, I was thinking of From Dusk Till Dawn.
Nice.
Yeah, you've seen that one, right?
No.
Ooh, and that's a horror film, but it's not. It's a cool horror film. I found out how else to say it.
Okay. But yeah, so this whole time, like you said, the zombies and dead people are trying to get into the house, and they're starting to succeed a little bit. And I think their little argument there gets interrupted by, one getting kind of into the door or something, and they both look at each other and like, "Guns upstairs." and they kind of just like end that conversation and run upstairs. Eventually they get upstairs.
By the way, real quick, when they read that the guns are upstairs, I'm like, there's 10 million of them coming at you. You're gonna run out of bullets. Then again, this is an old man's house in Texas. He might just have enough.
just enough.
Just enough. Frank would have it from The Last of Us. He would have enough bullets.
Yeah, that's true. So they're up there, and I couldn't tell if he was. He had like a 6-shooter, I believe. And
I think it was the last. Yeah, I think that's what he ran out of ammo with, and they were like on the landing where the stairs go up and turn.
Yeah,
I'm like, I would have at least tried to go a little further and close the door or something, but
maybe
They
there was
were just
maybe some
resigning
upstairs
themselves.
coming down or something. So I don't know if they were considering ending it themselves to escape that or not.
I took it as we're completely out of ammo. We're about to die. Let me at least hug you.
Yeah. And then it was at that point that Emmett was able to attack Baelgrim. And
No, Emmett dropped the sword. No. No. It was the sword itself, and he got... No, yeah, he did. He dropped the sword, didn't he?
Fuck.
He did. He dropped the sword, and the sword itself was just enough. All the people that have died by sword's hands have earned their rest.
Yes.
This ends now, and he basically just releases all the dead from Baelgrim's control, including all the dead that were attacking Roy and Janie in the real world. I'm starting to feel like Stranger Things here, like they're upside down. From each other.
Pretty much, and they just kind of disintegrate into dust.
Yeah, which they got snapped.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. And then I think Emmett was able to physically just destroy him. He killed him. He punched the shit out of him and was like breaking his jaw as he was punching him and making him
Yeah,
bleed.
you just saw like ribs left over and everything. He looked like roadkill, man.
Yeah, he fucked him up, and he got Dina, and they left hell.
And that was the end of the story. No, wait, no, it wasn't.
No, I didn't tell you every story ended with a happy ending, but
That's what he says.
or something like that. Yeah. So they come back. Then they have like a little reunion, and Roy's like talking shit. Not talking shit. He's like crying to his wife Janie because he's like, I wish this upon him in the past. I wish this upon him, and she's like, no. And then later on, they go separate ways in the house, and Roy comes down and he sees his dad on the porch, and his dad was like, Emmett was like, I heard what you said about me, and blah, 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 blah. And they, they're being all hard. He's being like a hard ass. And Roy's like, why the fuck can't we just like acknowledge what the fuck is going on here and how fucking crazy it is, please? And he was
Your
like,
mother hugged you too much when you were a kid.
Yep. And he was like,
I'm
fine,
thinking-
fuck.
Probably hugged him as much as you're hugging Deanna right now, but whatever.
Yeah. So Roy's like, wait, fuck you. And he goes off the porch and into the driveway and smokes a cigarette.
Yeah, we finally got you back from Alzheimer's, and you're more distant now than ever.
Powerful line. Yeah.
Yep.
It's a good line. And then
But
he
I
walks.
can relate to a lot of this because the person that was closest in my life had Alzheimer's.
Oh,
So-
I'm excited to hear your wrap up then.
Yeah, especially if I could have had the ending that he had.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to take a break when I was reading that.
But at this point, Roy gets bit again by another black thing.
Yeah,
Or
he's just like tasty. I don't know.
Yeah. And another like right on the shoulder again. And I was like, Jesus.
I honestly don't remember him getting bit a second time, but
Let me look it up. I swear to God he did.
it's possible. But back in the land of Always, where Atum is in control, there's a conversation going on with Aristus and Atum, son and father, where Atum says, "Son, you go and just get my sword back. I'm telling you to go do it."
Yep.
Now, Atum, he's using all his power to stop his kingdom from falling by the wayside, from disintegrating, from falling into, I guess, what would be like the equivalent of a black hole.
Yeah.
He is extremely powerful, obviously, but to leave his own realm, I guess he can't do it. But Aristus is saying, "Look, we've lost this brother and that brother and that brother, and dead. Can't we just stop? This is going to only end in tragedy." And it's kind of funny because it's very mirroring Roy, Emmett, and Aristus and Atum. The father and the son at odds about, and both of them wanting the sword. And sacrificing, and how much stuff did Emmett sacrificed that he wished he didn't. He's sacrificing time right now. He's got his memory back, and is he spending it with his family? No, he wants, I'm going to go fight gods. I'm going to them to fight gods. When is it enough?
That's a good point. I didn't make that connection.
That's why Roy was saying, like, you're finally back and you're still distant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dad, maybe Mom hugged me too much. Maybe you didn't hug me enough. Can I just have one hug with my dad while he remembers who the hell I am?
Sorry, I'm trying to find this patio porch talk scene. I think we got our books mixed up, but that's okay. Oh, the part where he lifts the sword and it's like illuminating was after he got bit, after he was talking to his father on the porch there. It wasn't as early as we thought.
Okay. I thought it was. I thought the first demon we saw at all was.
Oh, so initially, no, he didn't get bit. Initially, the monster was chasing.
Roy.
Dina.
Dina. Okay.
The thing that crawled out of that tornado was 20 feet tall, so they say. A demon, plain and simple.
Okay, you're not allowed to read any books that involve Texas people no more.
Why?
Because you're good at it. That's why.
Man, I got the mustache to prove it. But
get a little grayer. You could do Sam Elliott.
This is the great part here. That demon, it done fucked up. You see, Roy was a good man in a hard situation. Did the best he could, too. But he wasn't a fighter. If I could fucking read. But he wasn't a fighter by any stretch. But Roy's father, hell, you'd ask anyone in the great state of Texas, they'll all tell you the same damn thing. Emmett Quinlan was a god. Boom. The sword's name, because of course it had to have a name, was Valifax.
Okay.
It come through the storm, chasing that demon and bringing Emmett back along with it. And as long as Emmett was holding it, touching it, he was okay.
This is the end of Chapter 1 of audiobooks. Flip the cassette over for Chapter 2.
Can I get a goddamn bottle of water, please? I'm dying of thirst. That was a impromptu sketch by Timo Hanna Comedy Troupe. Thank you.
I'm actually thinking like when it was cut, the guy with that actually turns into like Paul Rubens. Emmett Quinlan was a god. Hey, I need a bathroom break over here. Well, the nerdy kid from Robot Chicken.
Yeah. I need a bathroom break over here. Can somebody give me a toilet? Please.
Okay, so where were we?
Emmett Quinlan was a god. All right.
Aristus comes to get the sword back at behest of his father Atum. And
before that, he couldn't convince his father to stop the bullshit. So, and he was talking, and Atum was like, "Here, use this," and he throws him this big ass chest.
Yep.
And he lands back on Earth with this like fucking huge warhammer,
which was very interesting because Valifax has control over all swords.
Yes.
But he could not control the hammer.
Nope. That's Mjolnir.
With a long handle, yes.
Yes.
It's meow meow.
So basically, Aristus is like, listen, dude, we don't have to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to hurt you. This is dumb. Please just give me the sword. It's just going to be an endless circle of violence and killing. Which
is very interesting because back in the beginning of the story, when he came down, he was all attitude towards Emmett. And the sword made them both put their attitudes in check and talk civilly to each other. But then Aristus, before he left, said, the next time we meet, we will not be allies. And it was almost like, you're going to regret the next time I see you. And then the next time he sees you, you're like, dude, I won't fight, man, please. I'm like, when, pardon me if you're under the age of 18, but when did you become a pussy? That was what I was thinking. I'm like, what happened, dude?
See, I didn't think of it that way. I didn't read it that way. I read it as Aristus is very factual. And I read it as him being like, listen, man, the next time we meet, we're going to have to fight. So, sorry.
But it didn't weigh in the same it didn't make sense with the first time I was introduced as a character, where he came across to me like Moff Gideon. Just all
I
of a
didn't
sudden
feel
beams
that.
down.
I didn't feel
Like,
that way.
you have something that I want, mortal. You
I don't
might
know.
think you know what it is, but you do not understand. Give me my sword.
I guess I didn't get that. I don't know. I always thought he was worry not, your father is safe so long as Valifax wishes it so. As you wish, son of Emmet. I don't know. I thought he was pretty. This is a beautiful.
No, I meant the original, introduction to the character when he first popped in.
Yeah, I guess maybe.
You never get a second chance to make a first impression. There you go. So
That's true.
my first impression of him was almost like the attitude of Thor before his magical weekend of transformation in Thor.
Gotcha.
Which, by the way, it takes 1,500 years to build up that kind of arrogance, but one weekend in a small little town on Earth, and he turns into a considerate person. Hey.
Thanks,
for you.
Marvel Writers Room.
I guess that must be Natalie Portman's doing.
So, anyway, so we have a differing opinion there, but that's okay. That's what reading is all about. I mean, it's how you perceive it. So he comes back, and essentially they go at it, and Emmett, it's, neck and neck, and then Emmett just really starts fucking him up hard.
Yeah.
And I think it's at that point Roy comes over and is like, how much is enough? And like they're like bunkering down in the house, and like everyone in Texas is like feeling these blows, and it's when he noticed that he almost hurt Dina, his grandchild, that he was like, oh fuck, right?
Well, they were getting ready. They were like, Janie again is like, look, we got to get out of here. She was like doing the same runaway thing from the first movie. First book, rather. And Roy's like, yeah, let's go. So they start heading to the truck.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, this missile comes out of the sky
That's
and
right.
slams and just destroys the truck, kind of looking like Men in Black. And Roy immediately thinks it's his father. You're like, Dad? And it turns out, it looks down, and it's actually Aristus. And then you see the scene where his father, Emmett, is coming, and he's got the hammer and the sword. And I was like, you're getting destroyed. The same as I just did to your brother, that's going to look like child's play. It's the look on his face. I'm going to rip you a new one. And his father's, Roy saying, Dad, stop, Dad, stop. Janie says, Emmett, please stop. And he's just ignoring everything. And then Dina goes, Grandpa. And he's like, huh.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now where there's a big panel where Emmett's like this with the sword, and he's yelling, I'll kill you.
Yeah.
And then the next panel is what you said, Grandpa, and he's like, oh.
Yep.
Grandpa, stop. Dina, no, and then he's like, no, it's okay. It's over. And they argue a little bit about the sword, and he's like, I'm not giving the sword back. And then he's like, why are you're scaring the shit out of your family? Dad, please, I know how hard this was for you to give it back, but you've got to let it go.
Yeah, see, Roy is pleading with his father
Yeah.
as much as Aristus is pleading with his father. This is
That I
going on
noticed.
too much.
Yeah.
You guys, both of them, the sons are. Can we? It's got to end. It's got to end. I mean, it's like the next generation of the Hatfields and McCoys are like, well,
Yeah.
why do we have to fight? Because we always have.
Right.
That's not a reason.
Yeah. And there's this one point where Arista says, for both of our families, please give me the blade. And he's like, he's got his helmet off. He's like sad. And so Emmett starts to talk to Valifax. And tells him to transport me directly to a tomb.
A tomb.
A tomb, excuse me.
It's okay. The one thing that this bothered me through the whole series was in the very first book. I think it was the first book when Aristus first comes down and he's talking to Emmett about the sword.
Mm-hmm.
And he says that Valifax has chosen many people to wield him over the years. And he will stay with you as long as he feels your motivation, your reasoning for having him is, I guess, in line with his own, is correct, is noble.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not at any point feel that I'm going to keep this sword no matter what, the danger it puts my family in, the death and destruction of your family. I don't care because I don't want to lose my memories anymore. That is not a noble thought.
Yeah, that's a curious way to look at it. That's true. I wonder if I keep saying he, there's specifically a point in the book, I think, when Dean is talking to him, like we were talking about, where he's like, I am not a he, I am a sword. So he doesn't want
to... That just means you penetrate people, baby.
But
do you vibrate?
There's got to be a cosmic con with all that energy. But maybe,
and then at the right moment, big bang.
Ladies and gentlemen, Team Ohana Comedy Troupe, tip your waiters, waitresses. Maybe Valifax thought that, or could tell that Emmett would be a means to an end to,
free himself,
or get rid of Atum and Baelgrim. He didn't seem to like Baelgrim at all already, so he just was like... I mean,
this whole story was centered around 3 different people trying to break free of the control of their parental figure. Roy trying to, I guess, either get his dad back or not have to go through that anymore and go on with, as he put it, his family.
Yeah.
Atum sacrificing his sons one after another, and his sons are fighting to say, look, Dad, we got to stop this. But at the same time, Valifax, even though he's not the blood son, he reports to Atum much the same way as a son would. Atum created him. He's like, I don't want to stand up to him.
There was a little bit about that, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's Daddy. Like, even though the sword is not his child, but he still has that same kind of relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
You say jump, I say how high. Or you say whatever.
But eventually they transport all the way to Atum's realm. And the penultimate book ends with a big splash page of Emmett saying "Welcome home" to Valifax.
Yep.
And then we start the final issue. And then it gives you
final countdown.
It gives you a bunch of a few pages of exposition about how he's been holding this place together, how he's fought off these crazy giant meteor moon worms from outer space, from constantly attacking for hundreds of years. So that alone has been crazy that he's been able to do that. And then finally he approaches Atum, and Atum
riding one of the giant worms, kind of like a scene from Dune.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, wow, I forgot about that. With Valifax in its brain, so he's like controlling it, I guess.
A little Ratatouille action going on there.
Right, just a little more what do you call it, gory. And I love this. He goes, Emmett Quinlan of the realm Texas, I presume. Tell me, are all the beings from your land stubborn and insane? No, sir. I'm actually one of the nicer ones. I reckon you're a tomb. you think we ought to talk? And then he just goes, boom, and he says, nay.
Nay.
And he just shoots energy, is all I can explain it as. And there's like a whole page here where he's just like behind Valifax, and he's like noses and ears are starting to bleed. And Atum is like, listen, man, if I didn't have to hold this realm together, I would have wiped the floor with you by now.
Yeah.
And then he starts to like go on a little monologue, and he turns away, and Emmett's like, don't turn your back on me. And he goes, you want your sword back? Fine. I never cared about having the goddamn sword. I'm not like you people. So he's coming to this realization that he's got to stop this cycle in this little monologue here. Mm-hmm. And during this time, Atum is sending out like his little Carnage style, arm projections, and Valifax is like, Emmett, watch out! And he did get it out of the way soon enough. So
impaled by almost like these, venom extenditures that come out like needles,
right?
And create mortal wounds for him. Which Valifax says, "I don't think I can heal you for this."
Yeah, Valifax is like, listen, I'm keeping you breathing, basically. And he's like, I know. And so eventually he javelins Valifax directly at Atum. And I think
Atum was grateful. He's like, oh, good, here comes my sword again. But
yeah,
I took it that the sword was like, this is my chance to take him out.
And as Valifax ripped through the air to meet its maker, yes, Emmett prepared to do the same. It was then on the very edge of fading away that Emmett remembered something. Finally. Something Valifax told him a while back. Something about flying through the throats of an ancient intergalactic evil.
Mm-hmm.
About immeasurable odds and unfathomable power. The art makes it looks like I don't know, like nicks his neck or something. It's hard to tell, but he definitely goes, ah.
Yeah, you can tell he's trying to. All he's able
like
to say is just bubbling blood.
Yeah. And he goes, and the thunderous hearts of trembling hands, you came back. Meaning he's speaking to Valifax. Now Valifax
the sword came back to him. Yeah.
You must listen closely. Your wounds have suffered are not within my power to heal. I'm doing my best to hold you together, but I'm afraid that if I were to divert any power to transport us away, the strain would be too much.
Yep. Meanwhile, back on Earth.
Exactly.
Aristus realizes that with the battle that's going on and the energy that his father is expending in the battle, not knowing what exactly is going on, the portal blockage that he had, the stopped up toilet, which prevents him from getting home.
Eat the galactic cork.
Yeah, there you go. He's actually able to go back home now because his father's isn't powerful enough to stop him from going home. And he tells Roy, you better come with me. He's like, why? Do you know what's going on? No, but whatever it is, it ain't good. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best way to put it. Whatever it is, it's not good.
Yeah, if my dad's power is weakening, we got issues. Let's go find out what our fathers are doing now.
And he's like looking to Janie, and Janie's like, just go.
Yeah, and I was picturing, what do you call it, again, from every time I read one of these scenes, it like triggers a memory of a movie. I kept on thinking of Field of Dreams.
Ooh, if you
I have to go on
come.
this trip to find Terrence Mann. Baby, just go. I'll hold down the farm. I'm texting.
There you go. Pretty much. So they go through the portal to that land, that realm, and now, folks, I'd like to be able to tell you that that Roy arrived to see his father triumphant, his Alzheimer's cured forever by some cosmic miracle, but I can't. And Aristus is like, Father, you got to stop this madness, and he's like swinging his hammer towards him, so he's like actively attacking his own dad now.
Yep.
And Roy runs over to Emmett and is like, dude, I got you. And Emmett, at this point, he can't even speak. You can see like tears coming down his eyes, and he basically had Roy touch his arm, and in that next moment, there's a double-sized splash page of
Yes.
all these beautiful memories unlocked of, his wife's pregnancy, Roy coming off the school bus, them fishing together, marriages, all this.
I'm looking at it right now. So
Yeah, me too. Yeah, watching TV shows and movies together. But I'm going to read it because I think it's beautiful.
yeah, go right ahead.
Everything.
No accent though. Just
No, yeah, everything. Every day, every hour, all the lessons Emmett learned as a father, all the triumphs, all the failures, all the things left unsaid, the things he never could say, everything he ever had, everything he ever was, all of the things he loved, and all of the things he fought for. His memories, all of them, he passed them to Roy. And then he was gone. And this is just a beautiful, sad, beautiful piece of art where Roy and his dad are in focus in front, and then behind them is just all this chaos with Aristus, fighting with his father.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the end of Emmett.
That is the part that I had to stop reading. And again, my grandmother was the person that was the closest to me, and she did have Alzheimer's.
Oh, God.
And it's like when she did pass away, people were telling me at the funeral, it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be sad. You lost your grandmother. I'm like, I lost my grandmother years ago. This was not the same person.
That's hard.
She didn't. I remember one day I was at work and I had set up like an adult care to come pick her up in the morning, give her breakfast, give her lunch, bring her back home in the afternoon. I had to work, I had to pay bills, but at the same time I was trying to make sure that she was taken care of. But there was still about an hour and a half where she was in the house by herself before I got home. One of the days I would call her every day just to say, how's your day? What'd you learn? What crafts did you do? What'd you eat for lunch? And I called and she seemed a little bit upset. And I'm like, is everything okay? She said, well, I was nervous at first, but now I'm doing better now that the police are here. I'm like, oh, okay. She's imagining police being there. I don't know.
Uh-oh.
And then I hear people talking in the background. I'm like, could I talk to one of the police, please? And guy gets on the phone. This is Sergeant so-and-so. I'm like, hi, my name is Richard. I'm her grandson and her caregiver. Could you please tell me what's going on?
Yeah.
He said, yes, sir, the children are missing, so we're about to start an Amber Alert. I'm like, okay, she has Alzheimer's and dementia. There are no children in the household. Please do not start an Amber Alert. I'm on my way home. I got there, and the funny part was, but the funny part was that she had given the police officer my picture from 35 years earlier when I was a kid. And my first thought was, I'm in a light blue polyester suit, and it says Olin Mills on the background, on the back of the photo, which shows this picture was taken in the 70s. Did you really think this is a valid picture? Wow, detective. Anyway.
Oh, man.
But she didn't even realize that I and the person in the photograph were two separate people. That we were the same person.
She thought you were two separate people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So, she would tell me, I wish Richie would come home. I don't know where he is. I'm sitting there like, hi.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, God. I'm sorry.
You remember, it's like your memory gets erased in reverse.
Yeah.
So everything from this week, this month, this year goes, but you still remember stuff from 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Wow.
Somebody once told me Alzheimer's is not forgetting where you put the car keys. Alzheimer's is forgetting that you own a car.
Mm-hmm.
So he would have, he wouldn't remember Janie. He probably never met the granddaughter.
Yeah.
So to have all these memories, which is the part that's what he was holding on to Halifax so dearly for. My entire life is not just about me and my wife. It's also about my kids. It's about everything that we built. And this is what I fought so hard for. I'm going to die, at least let my son have them so he can understand Yeah, you know what? I might have been distant, but you were never distant from me. This is what was me, and it was you.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was heavy and I think good writing.
Yeah.
After that, Atum was like, that's enough, and he just impales his own son, Aristus, and he kills him.
Yeah.
And let's see,
With what I don't know. I guess the same things he used to kill Emmett
yeah,
with.
it looks like the tendril things. And he goes, "You son of Quinlan, give me my blade. You have no idea the power you face. I am a tomb god of the kings, eternal, blah, 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 blah." And Roy goes, "I don't care." And I guess he goes back through the portal. Let's see.
Yeah. And just drops the sword.
Oh, yeah. He goes. He drops the sword in the middle of his son, like another son randomly in a requiem. It says. No, he doesn't.
No, he just drops it right there on the field. I'm looking at it.
What?
It's
What
covered
is
up by the grass.
I guess he was. Why did he go to that sun? Why is it showing that? Anyway. Yeah, he just drops it in the grass. You're right. And reconnects with the family. And did Grandpa win? Yeah, he did. Outlaw. How come he's not here? Well, and then months later, I guess they fixed up the house and they've put it on the market. And the prospective buyers are just doing their thing or whatever. Mm-hmm. No, that's not the prospective buyers. That's Roy and them. I wish I could fix this damn door. Nah, I think it's good like that. Part of the charm. And they decide.
What if they ever fix the air conditioning though?
And the next thing, they just decide to move to Austin. So.
And the narrator says that Grandma D, meaning Deanna, told it to her kids. Her kids told it to me. So the narrator turns out to be little girl D's grandchild, I guess 60, 100 years in the future. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this whole story is being told from the year like 2100.
Did you happen to read the end part?
I started to, but it was difficult on my little screen, so I stopped.
It's basically
thank you very much for this great journey, and yeah.
Yeah, it turns out they actually went to a town in West Texas to like get inspired by it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to find out. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's a nice little read. But yeah, I thought it was cool that they actually went on site to, be authentic as possible.
Yeah. And seeing the picture of the two of them just kicking back in the chairs with the cowboy hats, I'm like, yeah, of course you picked Texas.
Well, I mean, how many Valifaxes out of 10 would you give this?
Honestly, the first book, as I said, when I was reading this, after the end of the first book, I thought to myself, I'm not going to enjoy this story. It's already... I don't understand why. I don't even understand why they wrote this story. That's how meaningless or confusing. And I'm gonna have to figure this out as I go. Mm-hmm. But it unwrapped itself perfectly as a storyline. The artwork was very good, and I'm actually giving this a solid 8.
Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna go 8.5.
Good.
I really liked this. This felt Daniel Warren Johnson-y to me, which is a good thing for me. Donny Cates, I don't fall in love with everything he's written, but his 2018 Venom run with the cover Venom 3, everybody wants that.
Yeah.
That was an awesome read, so good, and this was really good. So, and I think he's run into some personal issues lately, though. He got off the Hulk book, so I don't know what's going on, but yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great.
Oh, cool. Do we have we were good for a couple weeks. I think we screwed up this time. Did we discuss what we're reading next?
No, but I have one queued up.
Go for it, man.
It's Wonder Woman Dead Earth.
Okay. When was this series written?
2020.
All right, so it's relatively new. Okay.
Yeah. This is this was a suggestion and not voted on, but this was a suggestion on our Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
If you would like to get your hands on giving us a suggestion and voting for what we do for our podcast going forward, be sure to check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/Team Ohana. Here's the banner.
And if you act quickly, you can probably join us for our first collaborative group chat that we're going to have, calling all coconuts.
Coconut Con April 2023.
Yep.
We're going to get together virtually. We're going to smoke some stogies if you feel like it.
Virtually.
Virtually. And just kick back, talk about comics, and whatever else comes up.
Absolutely.
Be sure to check out our podcasts wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, iTunes, etc. Mm-hmm. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel at Team Ohana on YouTube, where you can find all of our comic-related videos. And teaser reviews, trailer reactions, and stuff like that. But if you want our full reaction videos to episodes, you're going to have to join us back on the Patreon. That's where we have our watch-alongs.
Right.
Where you can watch along with us with the time code. So it's like you're watching with your old buddies, Rich and Greg.
And if anybody is interested, you can still contact us for the Team Ohana shirts and hats, and we'll send you the link for where it is on Etsy.
Yes, I've updated the link.
Cool.
It's good. It's on Etsy. I've updated the link in our link tree, so it directs to our. And our link tree is in our Instagram page, which is instagram.com/@Team
Ohana Family.
Is at Team Ohana Family. Yeah, there's no slash thing or whatever I was talking about. Anyway,
okay.
God bless. Until we see you guys in the next episode. Mahalo.